This is what happens when a Maga dad can't answer a hypothetical.
Okay, everyone, do give it a second for people to join in. If you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. If you're on TikTok, tap that
I was
screen.
in here earlier. My dad wants to say something to you. You debated my grandpa.
Oh yeah, what's up?
My dad wants to say something. I don't know. Here.
Okay.
All right, so I'm not real. This is gonna be brief, and I could have misunderstood some of the things that you guys were saying, but it seemed like you said you believed Iran would not pursue nuclear weapons. You took their word for it?
I believe they were. I just think that we stopped that by specifically having the negotiation with, or that we had under Obama, and Trump pulled us out of that negotiation, that agreement that we had. So that's bad.
Okay, so help me understand, because I think a lot of the issue with the younger generation is putting words in people's mouths. So I don't want to do that. You feel like it was all hunky-dory and under control under Obama's policies regime, and when Trump came in, then the threat of nuclear war or the Iranians obtaining nuclear capabilities increased? Is that what you're saying?
No. Restate it one more time. Sorry.
Okay. You think Obama's policies and administration had everything under control as far as
preferable.
Iran? Preferable. Versus what Trump's doing?
Yeah, absolutely.
So Trump's policies have increased our chances of being attacked with nuclear weapons, or have increased Iran's capability.
Yeah.
To acquire them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just can't wrap my mind around that. Yeah, I don't mean that as an insult.
Well, don't just listen to me. Listen to your president.
Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective. So the only way he figures that he's going to get reelected, and as sure as you're sitting there, is to start a war with Iran.
Okay, so you have to dumb that down for me.
Yeah, he was saying that about Obama in 2011, and he was saying that Obama's not going to be able to get negotiation done with Iran, so he's going to start a war with Iran.
Okay.
And that's exactly what he did. He was criticizing the thing that he did himself.
Well, see, appeasement and negotiation are not the same thing. What about 10 years ago, Marco Rubio's speech when he was a senator from Florida, talking about that I think he in fact said, don't quote me on this, but it's just memory, that in a decade or so, we'll be at war with them because of this.
So, I mean, like, that's what Rubio said, and Rubio was a part of going to war with Iran. Did you know that? He's like on the Trump admin, so that just sounds like him following through with his own goals.
Wait, no, not in 2016. He wasn't.
Wait, with 2016, he still has his own goals to go to war with Iran. Like Rubio has had this goal for a long time.
To go to war with Iran.
Yes.
He wanted to free Cuba, not Iran.
Yeah. See, I can't speak on that. So, but let me ask you this: do you think that a group of people that, and my son's telling me that I have to spell out some words, or I'll get kicked.
I don't know. It seems. I've been watching your lives, and it seems like TikTok
it's only like drug names. You have to say like F drug or M drug or C drug, something like that. Outside of that, you're pretty good.
I can say the word death?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got a group of people that chant death to America, and they're smart enough to know that when they fly a plane into a building that they're going to die, right?
Yeah, if someone does that, they know that that's going to happen, yeah.
Okay. And these are people that think that 12 virgins are anxiously awaiting their arrival?
Wait, I'm sorry. You know that the people involved in 9/11 were mostly from Saudi Arabia, right?
Okay, so you're. I wasn't saying that these were Iranians. This is the same ideology. Yeah,
Ide-
whatever.
no, they're not, and that's why we're under the Trump administration aligned with Saudi Arabia, but we're not aligned with Iran.
Saudi Arabia
Well,
aligned with us against
well, I guess we're not going to get anywhere if we can't. There's some fundamental things that we would have to agree upon to even continue this.
What do we need to agree
Uh,
upon?
Well, that the Iranian leadership. Let me ask you: you are you saying the Iranian leadership were they to obtain weapons capable of attacking America would not do it?
I bet they would, but what you're not understanding is that they're not going to attack the United States. It's just that they would have weapons able of doing so to be able to use that as a mechanism for defense.
Okay.
Likely.
Well, I just want to stop you real quick. I find the word bet. You said I bet they would. You may be right. You may be wrong. But bet is an awful flimsy word, in my opinion.
That's what when I say that, I just mean that's what I think is most likely, right?
Most likely. Okay.
Yeah, like when I was using it in a colloquial sense. Like,
Wait, do you think if Iran had nukes, they wouldn't nuke us? Is that what you're saying? Or they
no,
would nuke
I
us?
don't think that they would. I think they would use it as a deterrence, right?
No,
How
I agree.
everyone
Do you-
uses
do you-
nuclear weapons. That essentially establishes sovereignty. No one would be
So
able to
who-
attack. So it might cause more peace because then the U.S. and Israel can't just like attack them.
Yeah. So who? Let me ask you this: who on earth, what group of people or organization, whoever, if they had the capability to nuke the U.S., who would?
I don't think anyone will because nukes are better at deterring other people from attacking you than to use it against other people because inevitably there's something called mutually assured destruction. If you nuke someone else and they have nukes, they're going to nuke you back, and then everything's destroyed.
Yeah, but that,
so people have more of a internal self interest and perspective to use them to establish deterrence rather than to use them to blow up other people that do have nukes.
Okay, to me, in my opinion, common sense states or dictates that philosophy applies to superpowers.
It applies to everyone because people
So-
use nuclear weapons to establish sovereignty and to use a deterrence to say that no one
let me
will
ask you
attack
this.
me because I'll just nuke them.
So you're saying this, or were you saying that was the Saudis that flew the planes into the Twin Towers?
Yeah, that's not a direct nuke that
No,
was
I'm just
placed off.
asking you. Is that what you said?
Is that what I said?
Who
What?
Who flew?
Orbiting the galaxy. It was people
flew
from. It was mostly people from Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia. Okay. Do you think Saudi Arabia would nuke
That doesn't necessarily mean
US?
the government was involved. I'm just saying mostly people from Saudi Arabia.
Okay. Well, whether it was the government or the people of Saudi Arabia, I don't think the people in those buildings really give two shits.
Okay.
It's the same. I mean, I mean,
So what's your point?
Well, I would ask this about
wait a second. You said that they wouldn't nuke us,
Yeah.
but they would fly a plane into our
There's
buildings.
a massive difference.
Yeah. Saudi Arabia is not going to nuke the United States of America.
There's a big difference.
I didn't say Saudi Arabia would. We're merely establishing the fact that
Are you saying Iran?
unless I misunderstood, you said nobody would nuke the U.S.
Yeah. Nobody's going to nuke the U.S. Yeah.
if they had the capability.
I have an argument.
Yeah. No. Like government, for example. Like, could there be like some individual that wants to cause mass murder that would try to do that sometime in the future? Obviously, there's a possibility that someone would try to do that.
yeah.
But like, we're talking about people who want to establish governments and control over a certain society. They have these self-interest from their own perspective to use them as a mechanism for deterrence rather than to use them against other
Yeah,
people.
let me say something different. So you would agree that there are individuals, probably quite a lot of them that I believe if they, strap on a vest or, suicide bombers, for lack of a better phrase, that believe that 12 virgins are awaiting them, anxiously awaiting their arrival to have their way with them for, eternity or whatever. Do those people exist?
So there are some people that have those interpretations. Most people who are Muslim do not hold those interpretations. In the same way that, like, there are plenty of things in the Bible that are obviously horrible that you would say that most people don't hold those horrible interpretations. But there are plenty of people that have utilized their specific religious views, especially since you're bringing this up. You guys are LDS, right?
I am.
Just your dad?
Yeah.
Okay, is it also you? Are you also LDS?
What? That's just not a clear answer to that, but I'm very familiar.
Okay, well, I mean, like the point I would bring up with that at least is that do you know who Helen Kimball is?
Helen Kimball?
Yeah,
And no.
the 15-year-old that your prophet married.
Are we talking about Joseph Smith or
Yeah.
Brigham Young or
Yeah, Joseph
Okay.
Smith. So
Okay.
would you say this about your dad? Because your dad believes in a prophet that literally married a 15-year-old.
What age?
So-
What age in 1835 were most women married?
Let me ask you this.
Whoa,
When
is
was
that a
Loretta Lynn
justification
married?
for that behavior? I thought
Hey,
he
hold
had
on,
direct
hold on,
conversations
hold on.
with God.
Hold on. At what age did Loretta Lynn get married?
I don't know.
Was it not 14?
I thought it was 12. maybe.
12, 14, something like that. Somebody
I disagree with any of these things. Any adult marrying
Wait,
a
you
14,
just-
15-year-old, a child, should be literally like, I mean, I'm not going to say it on the live for purposes of TOS, but Jesus Christ, dude, prison for the rest of their
TOS.
life
Hold on. What's TOS?
in terms of service.
Okay. Well,
Like,
so what-
I'm
what-
serious.
what
Like,
do you- what do you
this
think?
this is someone we're talking about, like an adult marrying a child. Okay, like regardless at what
Yeah,
point in history
Doolittle-
we should
Doolittle
we
Lynn
should
was an
condemn
adult.
this. Wait, by the way, you were just trying to say that this is true for Islam, which, by the way, you don't even have to hold this interpretation if you're Muslim.
No, wait. No. Are you? I never said. Maybe you're not saying this. But if you're suggesting I said this is true for all of Islam, I did not say that.
So what were you arguing
Radical
then?
Islam,
So radical views. So there are radical Christians in this country.
for sure.
In our position of presidency, Trump, literally, you know that people are they're like saying that Trump was sent here by God, and they're like praying over him because he was sent here by God.
What
Well,
Christian ran
that's a little ridiculous. Yeah, no, I don't. Was Trump sent here by God? I mean,
No,
I've never
definitely
said that.
not.
And
Maybe by the
honestly,
devil.
I don't think. I don't think. Well, I mean, I certainly you don't really mean that.
What Christians are
Um,
flying airplanes?
Well, I don't really mean that because I'm not Christian,
Okay.
but like I metaphorically do.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think you're using a little bit of hyperbole, which we're all guilty of. But
Yeah, when I was mentioning the devil, not saying that he's a bad person. Trump's horrible. I can give you reasons to believe that too. Like, I think I've gone a little bit easy. Like, there are plenty of things I can point to. Like, for example, if Trump called for the execution of some Democrats because they said to follow the law and to not follow unlawful orders, would you still support him for president?
Was his tongue firmly planted in his cheek?
Okay, listen. You can. There are. Let me say this. There are plenty of people that support Trump that don't agree with everything he says
Of course.
and everything he does.
But like, is this a disqualifier? Him calling for the execution of some Democrats who clearly did not commit any crime.
Okay, so Are you talking about the what's the guy's name? Mark Kelly, the astronaut or whatever, and those guys that
All they said was to not follow unspecified unlawful orders. If you get an unlawful order, do not follow it. That's all they said. Totally within your rights of doing that. Nothing wrong about saying that. Trump said it was seditious behavior punishable by death, and then reposted someone saying AJ&G them. George Washington would.
Listen, let me tell you a little bit about me. I've been a fan, and not necessarily a political fan, of Donald Trump for about 25 years. And let me, before you start calling me Satan, let me clarify that. Well, let me just make it easy. Trump says some of the stupidest, most idiotic things I've ever heard. Somehow they're funny when they come out, but I think that the problem is when we, and we're probably all guilty of this, when we like somebody or support them, we're going to interpret certain things they say however we like it. We're going to apply whatever context we like. I mean, I can guarantee you if I did enough research, I could pull plenty of things that Biden or Harris or whoever, everybody has said idiotic things in moments that, maybe weren't their finest.
I'm sorry, but you would not be able to give me an example of Harris or Biden calling for their execution of their political opponents.
No, I didn't. Okay. So
who commit no crimes.
Let me ask you this. Do you think that Donald Trump really would execute Mark Kelly for saying that? Do you really think that?
I don't.
Absolutely.
Hold on,
if he had the ability to, absolutely.
Then there. I mean this with all due respect. And how old are you? 20-ish.
23.
I sincerely admire you for your interest in these things, and you're obviously well-read, intelligent. You make some good points, but I just can't. I can't, in good faith, continue a conversation if you really believe that Donald Trump would have Mark Kelly killed because he said, "Don't gave instructions to the military to not follow unlawful orders."
Yeah, he literally posted. So then, why did he post on social media to hang him?
He actually did that.
He actually did that. Like, I'm not trolling. I'm not making this up. I'm not adding extra context. I'm telling you explicitly what he said. And if any Democrat did this, people would not be overlooking this. If I said this about Charlie Kirk, people would not be overlooking this.
So the reason that Mark Kirk is still alive is because Mark Kelly is still alive is because the forefathers did not, as they constructed the Constitution and our government infrastructure, gave the power for the president to pick and choose who he wanted to hang or kill or execute or whatever. That's the only reason that Mark Kelly, and I don't, I know there were some other ones, but he's the only one I know off the top of my head. The only reason they are alive is because Trump did not possess the legal power to kill them.
Yeah, but the fact that that's the only thing that prevents him from doing it is a bit scary, is it not? That's the only thing that prevents Trump from literally executing his political opponents?
From your perspective, yes. But
so that's why I said absolutely. If he had the capacity, he would do it. You understand my point now, right?
Yeah, we disagree with that. And I find it hard to believe that you think that Donald Trump would have these people murdered, because that's what it would be.
Why else would he say it? I'm sorry, you can't just go and say things like that on social media when you're the president.
Is Donald Trump not the... tell me some political figure or celebrity or
it's not even just that he personally thought it. It's that he decided to post it on his public social media account.
some people. Yeah, okay.
I would say since he's the president, you gotta take him seriously.
Yeah, like,
it's not a
yeah.
religion.
Yeah, I think your son's totally right there.
Generally
You
speaking,
have
but
to be
Donald
able.
Trump is the most unique president we've ever had.
Wait. Should you be able to take the president seriously for what they say?
You should be able to, but in Donald Trump's case, common sense tells me you shouldn't.
Okay. So I'm not disputing you that it hasn't happened. Like, obviously, he hasn't executed them directly yet. But the point that I would make is that it shouldn't even be something that a president is doing, because that's like the most authoritarian playbook type of thing you do. Like,
So
that's
you
what Stalin did.
so
That's what Hitler
you're-
did. They take out their political opponents. They call for the execution of them who dissent. And that's how they specifically create fear amongst people to then control them. Fascism specifically relies upon
Well, yeah,
fear to control them.
You mentioned Stalin, and Stalin's funny because that actually contributed to Stalin's death, because he got rid of all those doctors, and when he needed
Yeah.
them, they were all gone. But
Well, yeah. That's literally something that will probably end up applying to Trump.
okay, so here's the big issue I have with, unless I'm misinterpreting. It seems to me like you're taking everything Trump says as literal. Okay, now if you think if literal in the sense that he believes whatever he says, he believes it should go forward. Go forward.
I'm taking him calling for the execution of some Democrats on his public social media account seriously, to mean that he actually thinks that. Yes, I am taking that seriously, and I don't think that's an unhinged or crazy thing for me to do.
Okay.
Like, I don't think
so-
that the president should be doing this on either side. And I think that if Biden did this,
So-
people would be
so
making a
listen.
bigger deal about it. Remember when Biden said that people were garbage? Do you remember? Do you remember what happened after that? He called MAGA garbage, and literally people were absolutely so mad at that. But like, Trump calls for the execution of specific Democrats, and like, he's able to get away with it because people don't take it seriously.
How has he gotten away with it?
How has Trump got away with it? He's president.
Yeah. Okay, but what so Biden got away with calling MAGA whatever he said he called him, stupid or okay. Well,
I mean,
translate that into real life. What he got away with it, okay? Everybody gets away with all kinds of stuff.
Okay,
But the point was, I think we're diverting. The point was that you actually believe that Trump would have these people killed, right?
if he had the legal capacity to do it, he absolutely would do it. And hell, if Trump had the legal capacity, I might be on that chopping block. Genuinely.
Didn't he post like a AI video of like, was it Harry Sisson getting like shit dumped all over him?
Literally Harry Sisson getting shit
I
on.
mean, I mean,
I'm not saying
okay.
that that's the same, but that's kind of a small example.
Okay. I don't even. I mean, I found that humorous, and
Of
and
course
I'll be
you
honest with you. Well, of course it. Okay.
I find that incredibly unprofessional.
I'm not a professional.
Yeah, I mean, imagine the president of the United States. Can you imagine if Obama dropped a video of him shitting on fucking conservative commentators?
Unprofessional. Okay, I misunderstood. I thought you were saying it was unprofessional of me to find that funny. Now, I found it.
Well, yeah, that as well.
Well, I mean,
I would agree.
as you grow in life,
I think it's absurd. I think the only way to find it funny is how fucking wildly absurd it is that he's posting a video of him shitting on a random TikToker. Like, that's what's that to me is what you could possibly find funny, but that's not finding the joke that they were trying to make funny. That's like finding how absurd the scenario is funny. Like, that's a completely different concept.
I would agree with you specifically because he's president, which means you have to take him more serious. Like, you shouldn't laugh at that because he's the president. Like, you have to take that seriously. Like, if it was just some random guy who was known for doing that wasn't the president.
All right. So let me ask.
Yeah, you might think it's like immature or something, but like it wouldn't be like as much of an issue as like the president doing it. Yeah.
So you watch that exact video, and somebody tells you this is, John Smith. you may find it funny.
A little bit,
But
because
if you find the exact same term,
I wouldn't even
like
find a
Donald Trump
video
is
of
the one
someone
who
making an
posted
AI slop video shitting on like random people funny. Like I don't think that that's like a funny thing. It's like AI slop, like genuinely. I think the only thing you could find funny about this is how wildly absurd it is that he can do this without as much pushback as he should have got. Like it is absurd that he would find the need to take away from his time from being president of the United States to post a video of him shitting, an AI video of him shitting on Harry Sisson. Like, I can't even fathom that. No, before the election, if you asked me if that would ever happen, no possible shot would I think that's possible of happening. That's how ridiculous it is.
And most people, and I'd say most staunch Republicans would agree with that prior to Donald Trump. That's why I say he's the most unique and interesting president we've ever had. So,
in my opinion, yeah, but in like a very disturbing way. I mean,
okay, so who was? What were the consequences of that video?
nothing. But for sure.
We're not saying there are broader consequences of that video. We're just saying, like, that's what this guy's spending his time on as president. He, on the toilet, is deciding to post up videos of him shitting on Harry Sisson rather than, like, worrying about the country, right? Like, why? Like, imagine if Biden did that.
You
like,
can
if there
do
was
two things at once, okay? I mean, so you know, I think that moderation is the key to life.
Sure, but you can only do so many things as president. You can do more than one thing, but you can only do so many things, correct? So if you can only do so many things, why is one of the things that he's doing shitting on Harry Sisson with inside an AI video?
He's the president. He shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, it was unprofessional. I've never said it wasn't.
Yeah, like remember when Obama wore a tan suit or ordered Dijon mustard or took a selfie from the Oval Office or wore a helmet while riding a bike? Fox News was freaking out about all of those things.
Okay, well, let me say, let me first tell you, I lean conservative, but I don't care for either party. Okay, I think they're all hypocrites. I think they're all in it for their self-interest, and I've resigned to the fact that if I'm going to vote or have an opinion, it's going to be who's going to do the little bit better job, or I hate the term, the lesser of two evils, or whatever. So
how would Trump meet that criteria?
How would he be the lesser?
Are you what? How is he the lesser of two evils between him and Biden or Harris?
Harris, yeah. Between him and Harris, how is he the lesser of two evils?
I don't. That's for another day, because we're getting all over the place.
I mean, that's what we do on these live streams. If you want to have the conversation, we can talk about a bunch of different things relating to Trump. It's no big issue.
Yeah, I don't. No, I respect that, but I'm not in the same space you are. I just wanted to.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to make the point that that Trump is. I mean, think about if you take his word for everything that he said. He knows more about everything than everybody in the world. Nobody knows more about whatever. I mean, there's so many.
Would you say the same thing about Biden when Biden was president? Would you say he knew more than anyone in the world?
No. This is what Trump is saying.
Oh, of course.
I'm not saying he does.
He clearly doesn't, but he's lying, right?
Yeah. You could call it a lie, but but I mean, who cares? He says some crazy things. I mean,
who cares that he's lying? I mean, isn't it a big issue that your president of the United States would be lying?
I said, who cares about some of the crazy things he says? I'm specifically talking about, nobody knows more about blah, 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 blah. I mean, there's so many examples in the last 10 to 12 years.
Can I have an actual president again, please? Like seriously, like I feel like it's embarrassing on the world stage. Our president is not presidential.
No, he's not.
We're not voting in content creators that we like just because they're content creators. We're talking about a president of the United States, someone to like lead the free world, right? He's the opposite of that. He wants to be the authoritarian controller. What's that?
Definitely by the standards of his predecessors also. But context also matters. And as time goes by, there is technology and circumstance make it harder for presidents to have any private moments. I mean, it's just it's a good policy, in my opinion, to generally, instead of condemning what somebody says immediately, ask a few questions like, well, what was the context? And I'm not saying you do this. You probably do some. I mean, I think it's human nature to do that some. But, in the grand scheme of things, if he says some stupid, idiotic things, I mean, George W. Bush said some really dumb things.
Yeah, I know.
Biden said some really dumb things.
Not even comparable, though.
One other, well, okay, that could be debated, and you're going to ask me to give me an example. I'm not prepared to do that right off the bat. I would say Kamala Harris probably hasn't.
The issue is that like Biden might have
unintentionally
said something incorrect, but Trump intentionally says these crazy things.
Okay, so how would you know he's saying these things unintentionally?
Who, Biden?
Biden? I think that's pretty obvious.
Well,
I think that he had cognitive decline, and clearly, like in certain circumstances, the main issue that people had would be with his ability to communicate his positions.
Let me ask you this: does he have more cognitive decline than Trump?
No.
Yeah, see, I don't see that. That's really hard.
Because the way that he has cognitive decline is in a different way. Like Trump is extremely conspiratorial and insane and ridiculous, and like it's harmful in that way. The way that Biden was like in a manner in which he was, it's like it limits his ability to communicate his ideas, but it doesn't really harm us in any meaningful way as a society.
All right, see,
like genuinely, like how is Biden being a bit old like that harmful to us as a society as a whole, in the same type of way as Trump, believing all the crazy shit, starting a war with Iran, and doing all that. At least he said no to Israel when they tried to get him into war, right? Like an offensive conflict with Hezbollah. Like Trump says yes in that scenario and goes to war with Iran.
See, I'd have to look more into all of those things, but I think that you're. What this feels like is a very generalized statement, and there's probably a whole lot behind the scenes that let me put it this way. I think people that have some of these strong opinions and are so quick to label Trump and others, Biden, Obama, whoever. I mean, the thing is, you could turn all these things around. As an example, if Trump says something, the Democrats are just going to railroad him for it. Well, if the circumstances and the Republicans are going to say, "Oh, it's great," I'm going to tell you all the reasons why they defend it. Well, if the circumstances were exactly the same, only it was Biden that said it, then the Republicans would, in general, do the same thing.
So
they condemn it. It's we're at a
so what you're essentially saying is that Biden, if he were to have said it exactly what Trump said, they would condemn it, but because Trump said it, they're not willing to. Is that what you're saying?
What are you specifically talking about? See, I'm talking in generalities, and I feel like that you're maybe, unless I'm misinterpreting you, you're bringing up talking about specific things. I'm talking in generalities.
Okay, I guess maybe we're misunderstanding each other. Is there anything else you want to add or talk about before I go on to the next person? Think of the glasses.
Do what?
Is there anything you want to add or talk about before I inevitably end up going to the next person here?
Oh, yeah. Well, no, just I think that Trump is the president, right? He's still a human being, very, very flawed human being. But I think that, and he is easily the least presidential president that probably ever existed.
Yeah.
I think that's a very safe thing, even though, we have, little to no context or audio access to all the things that each president in succession is open to more scrutiny, just because there's no private lives anymore.
Could you bring up some of the like weird stuff that Trump has said? Because I've talked to my dad about this before, and
Oh yeah.
he doesn't like completely like deny it, but he'll kind. I'm not. I'm not like attacking you, guys. He'll have some like kind of justification for it in a way. Kind of. Just talk about that.
Yeah. So, there are plenty of examples of things that Donald Trump has said, and I feel like many ways that you could see it. Do you have a daughter, perhaps?
I do.
You do? If Donald Trump went up to your daughter when she was 10 years old and he said he'd be dating her in 10 years, would you still support him as the president?
I mean, so he says that, and 10 years later he runs for president?
No. So he went up to a 10-year-old girl and he said he'd be dating her in 10 years. And I'm just saying, suppose that this
While
10-year-old
he was
girl
running-
were your daughter.
Wait. Well, see, this is where context matters. Are you referring to
This is 1992.
what he said about his daughter?
No,
whatever?
this is what he said about someone else's daughter. It was some random 10-year-old that was going up an escalator when he was having a CBS News interview, and it was caught on a hot mic that he said this to the 10-year-old, that he said, are you going up the escalator? She said, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He said, can you believe it? I'm going to be dating her in 10 years. And she goes, I can
Okay,
play the audio for you if you'd
Donald
like.
Trump, so Donald Trump is, in your eyes, is disqualified. And I'm not. This is not me. This is the problem I have. Usually with my son, what I'm about to say, he will turn this. He will turn this into me saying that I okayed it or whatever. So you're saying that Donald Trump saying that he would date a 20-year-old who is an adult disqualifies him to be president.
Him going up to a 10-year-old girl and sexualizing them and saying he's going to be dating them in 10 years when they're 20 years old. Yes, that is absolutely pedophilic. That is wrong.
Hold on.
It's
So,
definitely grooming behavior. And like, if that happened to your daughter, would you have an issue with it? I think the answer is yes.
No. Hold on. I didn't say yes or no. Do you agree that Donald Trump's intent and what he meant by it matter? And I'm not saying I know what he meant by it, but I have a hard time accepting that you know what he meant by it.
Obviously, and I think his intent here in this
been...
I think his intent here in this scenario is bad and to be creepy.
Okay, so you think that. I respect that opinion. So you think that what was do you think that she was she felt sexualized by that?
Yeah, do you think she responded with going, I mean, it's a 10-year-old.
Trump is...
This is a fifth grader, dude.
Trump is...
Would you be okay with Trump going up to a fifth grade class and going up to random fifth graders in the classroom and being like, I'm going to date you in 10 years?
Okay, so did he actually, and does he actually think, did he get her name down and her address, and he actually think, or was that a really...
He sees a 10-year-old going up an escalator with her father, and he does that.
Wait, so this was in front of her father?
Yes, listen.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure at least. I'm pretty sure the father was there.
So it would be worse if it wasn't. Would you not agree?
I think it's bad either way. I don't think, regardless of whether or not the father's there, that's bad.
Is it worse? Is it worse if he says this to her alone?
It's bad in both scenarios, the same degree.
So it's no different.
Yeah, it's the same. It's just as bad.
No different. No different. So what if this was a close family friend of his?
This is some random person. And
I didn't
if it's a
say that
close
it
family
wasn't.
friend, I would not be friends with that person anymore. Why are you saying that to my daughter? Genuinely, like if you would just still be cool with someone who would say that to your daughter, I'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like seriously, dude. Like who says that to someone's daughter?
You're saying I'd still be cool with somebody, and saying that I still support them for president when it's either them or Kamala
Well,
Harris.
you're trying to bring up
Totally
like a
different.
friend, like a close friend. I'm saying, would you still be cool
No,
friends with them?
I'm
No, you
not.
wouldn't. You'd have a huge issue with them.
The reason I'm doing that is because context matters. You're
Okay, so
giving
if
a
you're talking
generalized
about the
statement.
president, the point that I'm making is that if it was your daughter, answer the question directly. Would you still support Trump for president?
If he said to my daughter, who was 10, that he would perhaps be dating her in 10 years when she was 20. Correct? If he said that, would I still support him years later for president?
Yeah.
It would so let me say this. Um, I doubt that statement alone. Well, let me ask you this: if you agreed with every one of his policies and blah blah blah, everything else, minus that one statement,
Wouldn't
you would
support him.
support the other. You would not support him.
Would not support him. I actually,
Okay,
you know what?
so
You know what my
so
view
what?
is? If someone's been held civilly liable of sexually abusing someone, criminally convicted of sexual abuse or anything like that, it should be illegal for them to run for president. So,
I agree.
for people,
Well,
so
but
by the
it's
way, that's
not.
a way
But apparently it's
bipartisanly
not.
we can
So
limit this from even having to be a concern in the first place. But we have too many people that are willing to defend this. This should be something bipartisanly across the board we should all be able to agree upon. Let's do it now so that no one in the future decides to do this.
So you're what you're and I just want I have a real problem with people putting words in people's mouths, and this is why I'm clarifying. You're saying that anybody at any time in their life, if they say to a minor that when they become of legal age that they'd be interested in dating
I'm
them.
referencing broadly like the fact that he sexually abused people, been held civilly liable of sexual abuse, because that'd be a mechanism we can use to identify. But
Okay,
if in this hyper specific circumstance we have an audio recording of someone specifically saying this, yeah, I think this would be sufficient reason to say I wouldn't support them for president.
See, this is the issue. While I admire you for a lot of things, and you're obviously very intelligent young man, and keep it up, but you don't let people finish what they're saying, and you jump from.
I apologize. I thought I was addressing
Yeah.
the point you were trying to question.
Well, no, well, first we were talking about Trump being disqualified because he said to a 10-year-old that he'd perhaps be dating them when they become of age. And we shifted from there to him being convicted by a court for sexually abusing somebody. Those are totally different things.
Yeah,
We never finished with my daughter had that being said 10 years old. Hey, Trump is a weird guy. He might have actually thought that he was complimenting her. Who knows? I mean, the stuff that comes out of his mouth. I mean, he's perhaps the most unintentionally funny mouth breather on the planet. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, what's there's no perfect system. There's no perfect politician. In fact, in my opinion, if you can find a politician on either side that's a pretty decent person with mostly decent ideas,
That's subjective.
then you got a winner. So I think they're all garbage in general. Aspects of them all are garbage. Everybody has skeletons in their closet. No matter who's in, there's going to be legitimate complaints. There's going to be legitimate. Sometimes there's no way to please everybody. Because when you when you make a law that benefits a group of people, it inevitably makes another group of people suffer. and so
Wrong.
that's
Not
just.
not all policies that help people inevitably make others
I didn't
suffer.
say all policies. I didn't say
Okay.
all policies, but often policies do that. So
Okay, I don't even know if that's necessarily the case, but sure. Well, we can accept that that's still irrelevant. The point that I would make is that, one, he's not funny. It's not funny for him to be a predator and for him to sexually abuse people and for him to literally make comments like this, sexualizing little girls.
Hold on. See what
Can
I
I?
just said.
So, by the
You
way,
just
I
did-
was
no,
trying
no,
to
no, no,
explain.
you just
I was
did
trying
what
to
I
explain,
said.
and you're cutting me off.
No. Well.
He's mad because he thinks you're putting words in his mouth.
Yeah,
You
I understand.
are.
I understand, but
You
like,
are.
couldn't I have said the same thing about you when you were saying it about me and you were getting mad at me cutting you off? I could
But he
I could
he
have
was
said that
cutting
you
you
were.
off for.
Well, because you're continuing with a thought predicated on me feeling or saying a certain thing that I didn't say or think.
Okay, what did you not say? Go ahead.
Well, you'd have to go back to the.
He didn't.
you
He
were-
didn't say that Trump making sexual jokes against minors was funny.
Yeah,
He made a generalized statement saying that.
I said Trump was funny, and you turned that into me saying that Trump saying sexual things to minors was funny.
I mean, I thought that that's like a claim you were making about that because you just had referenced that prior. But if that's not what
No,
you
we were
meant,
talking
I
about
apologize.
that, and I made the point that Trump has said some ridiculous things that are laughable.
Okay,
And when
but
I
like,
say laughable, I
but-
don't mean I
like-
agree with him. I just make like, can you believe he said this shit?
Yeah,
you
but
know?
in the context of a conversation about him saying stuff about minors, that would make sense for him to come to the conclusion that you're talking about sexual stuff that he said.
yeah, like,
No.
it was seemingly
Well,
implied based upon
that
what
was
the
not what
conversation
I
we were
meant.
saying prior. But it's okay. You
went
can
there.
say that you don't think that. That's fine. The point that I want to criticize then is that you said everyone is the same. Both sides have done these horrible things. It's not true. You can't give examples of Kamala Harris going up to a 10-year-old girl and saying she's going to
No,
be dating them.
no. I didn't say both sides have said sexually inappropriate things to minors. I said, see, that's what I'm getting at. Play it back. I never said that. I said both sides in general, both sides say ridiculous things. And whether their base either supports them or doesn't based on who says it.
Okay, so that would be something relevant to this conversation then. Saying everyone has absurd views isn't like a way to respond to someone, you know, trying to sexualize a minor or being held civilly liable of sexual abuse. The reason I brought up
Okay.
the held civilly liable of sexual abuse point is that people shouldn't be allowed to run for president if this is true, is because I was trying to demonstrate that broadly about Trump, I already believe that people like him shouldn't be able to run for president of the United States, because I would
Okay.
absolutely hold individuals on my own side accountable for the types of actions that Donald Trump himself has engaged in. But
Well,
broadly
then that's your
speaking,
right to vote.
ba-
But
Go ahead.
are you saying that him saying to a 10-year-old, perhaps I'll be dating you in 10 years, is sexualizing her?
yes, absolutely.
I didn't ask you, son.
Sorry.
Well, we both
And
agree.
see, I would have to, I'd have to know a whole lot more to based on that.
What?
No, I'm not ready to make that claim. I'd have to see it. And know
Play the
more
clip.
details.
Okay, I will in a second. I want to ask him this question. If he said he'd be dating a 5-year-old in 15 years, would you be okay with it?
Wait. First off, you were saying, now you're asking if I'm okay with it. Before you were asking, would that disqualify him as president? Those are two different things.
Okay, then I'll restate that to say that would it disqualify him from being president if he said to a 5-year-old that he'd be dating them in 15 years?
Let me ask you this: do you think that? Let me preface it by this: Donald Trump has diarrhea of the mouth. I'm sure you would agree to that, right?
But
No.
what? I'm
Trump-
confused what this is supposed to
Donald
mean.
Trump has diarrhea of the mouth. Would you agree with that?
I don't even
Are you
know
not
if that.
familiar with that term?
To be honest, I don't even know what that means.
Okay.
It's
Well-
like he says bullshit or something? Is that what it's supposed to mean?
Look it up on Google later. So, huh? Okay, whatever. So,
Okay,
Let
so
me
like,
ask you this.
can you answer my question? Because like you want me to answer all these questions you're asking, but I am not
That's
getting an
because you're
answer to
putting
my
things in my mouth.
question.
But what's your question? What's your question?
Yeah, if Donald Trump said this about said this to a 5-year-old, say be dating them in 15 years, would you still vote for him?
Well, so who's he running against?
Harris.
Okay, so let me ask you this. No. Yeah. See, you're getting all hot and bothered, but
Well, like
context
you're
matters.
asking me questions instead of answering my question.
He's asking clarifying questions.
Well, I'm
I don't
asking
know.
clarifying
Okay.
questions.
Okay, ask
honestly.
another clarifying question.
Because part of Donald Trump having diarrhea at the mouth is same thing as he's not presidential. It's
Okay.
along the same lines.
Yeah.
Do you think that Kamala Harris has ever
Kamala.
said anything? Okay, no, so I said it wrong, right?
Yeah. So has ever said
Okay,
anything?
that brings up another point. Do you think that I said that intentionally to disrespect her?
No, that's why I corrected you with the pronunciation.
Okay, no, that's fair, and I believe you. But a lot of people think that. So,
Everything but answering the question. I'm sorry. At this point, this is getting ridiculous. Like
I
you're
agree.
grasping on anything you can grasp on to not answer the question directly.
No, because you're leading me down a road that includes me saying certain things and okaying certain things. If Kamala Harris, do you think that she's ever said anything in her life that would disqualify her from being president?
No.
You don't think she's ever said anything
From your opinion.
that if the public knew would disqualify her from being president?
He means in
No.
private as well.
Yeah, I'm talking about in private. No? Well, then there's no point in us continuing on this particular
How?
subject.
How?
So,
How is there no point
okay,
of us
so-
continuing with the point that we were making? Because I don't think there's anything Kamala Harris has done that would be disqualifying, specifically in terms of things that she said.
you don't
At least in
think, but
comparison
Donald
to
Trump- but
voting for
Donald
Trump, because like it's Trump or Harris.
Donald Trump has been in the public eye for twice your lifetime,
Okay.
perhaps more.
Okay. And
There's a whole lot more material than with Kamala. I would
Kamala?
venture to
Okay,
say
so
that. Did I say it wrong again? I'm not doing it on purpose.
that's okay. You can just say Harris as well. The
Harris,
point that
okay.
the point that I want to make is that please answer my question. I would love an answer to my question. You're professionally not answering the question. Okay. If Donald Trump went up to a 5-year-old.
No, I'm careful. I'm careful to not have words.
If Donald
put in my
Trump
mouth.
went up to a 5-year-old and said be dating them in 15 years, would you still vote for him?
Let me ask you this.
Wow.
If he said it to a
Wow.
No, hold on.
Wow. Can we get a count
on.
on that, please? I'm
Listen,
sorry.
hold
This
on,
is insane.
Hold on. No, because you're not getting the point. If he said it to a 16-year-old,
Is this Groundhog Day, dude? I can't get this question answered.
Would it if he said it to a 16-year-old? Would it
At
be
this
okay?
point, these are not clarifying questions,
You're grasping.
okay? Like,
You're
I was
grasping.
trying to be very charitable with
Okay.
you. These are not clarifying questions, okay?
Okay,
This
no,
is you
no,
absolutely pivoting from not answering the question. Let me ask you something. How many
You
questions
are-
have I answered without him answering this question yet? I think a million.
You are. Well, there's a perfect example of hyperbole.
How am I being hyperbolic right now? You're the one not answering the question after like how many times?
A million. You just said a million times.
Sure, I was a bit hyperbolic
Okay,
with that. I didn't even
so-
realize that I did that. I apologize.
So, at what point? Let me ask you. At what? You're grasping, in my opinion. That's the point
I'm
that I'm trying to
grasping.
make.
I'm asking one simple question you can't answer.
No, okay. I'm asking another simple question.
Yeah,
At
and
what
I've already
age is it
answered how
okay for him
many
to say
simple of
that
your
in your mind?
questions.
At what age is it
How about this?
okay
How about
for him
this?
to say-
How about this? How many more questions do I need to answer before you will answer this question? Just let me know.
One. At
Okay.
what age is it okay for him to say that? that perhaps when you become of age, I'll date you.
He didn't say that. He said in 10 years.
No, at what age? When like in other
No,
words,
that's
if they
not
were
what I'm
16 and he said in 2 years, or you said
Oh.
10, so 4 years when they're 20 or whatever.
30 plus.
Because of how
So
old
he couldn't. He
Because of how
couldn't.
old he is. Because of how old he is.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait. So
Yeah, like I think it's weird
are
for
you
someone his age
suggesting
to be saying that
are you
about anyone like
suggesting
that. I'm going to say that.
Very. All right. So it's not common, but it's
He can be saying
it's
I'm
not
going.
hard to
And by the way,
find
let me clarify.
20-year-olds that marry like 70-year-olds.
Let me clarify. I'm not saying if he said like a 10-year-old, I'll be dating them in 20 years. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if he said he would date a 30-year-old when they're 30 to a 30-year-old. Like once you're at that age, there's not a big issue. They're 30 years old. They can consent. They can make those determinations themselves, right? That's up to them. Now, if we're talking about a 10-year-old here, he's sexualizing a 10-year-old who clearly, right, is fucking in 5th grade. Okay?
So it doesn't
That's
under-
absurd.
so it doesn't
He
understand all that
was
much
like
of it, right?
50. He was 50 years old.
So doesn't understand that much, right? The 10-year-old.
Obviously. So now let me ask this
Correct.
question because
Yeah.
I answered a question. You said only one more question. If Donald Trump went up to a 5-year-old and said he'd be dating them in 15 years, would you still vote for him?
Whatever you say, give reason.
Well, so he hasn't, and I mean, we could go on with hypotheticals. Let's just stick with what he has said and what he hasn't. So I'll go back to I'll go back to what I'm saying. Just because he said to a 10-year-old that perhaps in 10 years when she's 20 that he would be dating her, no, that does not disqualify him to be president.
So if you went up to a
In my
5-year-old
opinion.
and he said he'd be dating them in 15 years, would you still vote for him?
Why don't you ask if it's a 1-year-old?
I can. Now, would you answer the question?
It's it's a hypothetical.
What's wrong?
I know, and you can answer hypotheticals.
Well, we're talking about what he said.
If there were 2 red balls and 2 blue balls, how
I would
many
have-
balls
I
are
would
there
have to know all
overall?
of the circumstances.
Wait,
I would have to know all of the circumstances.
if there were 2 red balls and 2 blue balls, how many balls are there overall?
Perhaps it's
Wow.
a very weird thing. It's a very weird thing to say that to a 5-year-old.
If there were 2 red balls and 2 blue
I would
balls,
it would
how many
certainly
balls
raise
are there
my
overall?
eyebrow, and I would certainly look into it further.
If there were 2 red balls and 2 blue balls in a bag, how many balls are in the bag?
Well, I was never good at math, but I think that would be 4.
Okay, it would be 4. That's a hypothetical. You just answered a hypothetical. Okay.
Yeah.
Now that you've answered a hypothetical, could you answer the hypothetical that I brought up? If he went up to a 5-year-old and said he'd be
Apples
dating
and
them in
oranges.
15 years, would you still vote for him?
I would have to. I can't say. I would have to know the details.
I already gave
weird-
you the details. He went up to a 5-year-old and he said he'd
You
be
gave me
dating them
very
in
vague
15
details.
years.
Who is this 5-year-old? Is
Here.
it a family friend?
Who is
it,
this? It's some random 5-year-old going up an escalator.
And when is he running for president?
Dude, does that matter? Like, I'm just asking, would you vote for him? If this is something
It
that
does
he's done,
matter,
would you
because
vote
if
for
said
him?
If you said this when he's 30, it's quite different than when he was 70 because he's a lot more wise and you would think
He was.
listened well.
This was 1992. He was in his, I think, 50s.
Okay. I don't know. So what I've acknowledged that it's weird but I'm not ready. I am not prepared to answer would I vote for him.
No, but
based just on that limited information.
I think that you have enough information. Like literally,
Well, you
take the
think- you
like
think,
literally,
but I'm the
all
one
you have to
answering
do
the
is take
question,
the
so I'm
scenario
the
with the
one that asked
10-year-old. So all you have to do is take the scenario with the 10-year-old and change 2 numbers. That's it. Change the 10 to a 5 and change the 10 to a 15. That's all you have to do. And in that scenario, would you still vote for him?
Because you answered the question for the 10. It's the same circumstances.
Look, these are just generalized vague stuff. Okay.
Okay. How about this? I'll play.
I'd have to know. I acknowledge that it was weird, and I acknowledge that Trump says some idiotic things. I mean, what else you want me to say? Like,
Okay, how about this? We're gonna play the audio, and maybe this will invoke a different response.
Obligation to do that.
So you have done that. Now, tell
Well,
me
I'll
what
tell you the funniest is that I'll go backstage before.
Oh, sorry. Wait, wrong one. I apologize.
clip.
That's him
That was
bragging about
other
walking into the
predatory
changing
behavior.
rooms of naked women while they're changing without their consent. I apologize. Wrong one. Here's the
Wrong
video.
predatory, Chris.
Thursday night. You're going up the escalator? I'm going to be dating her in 10 years. Can you believe it?
We'll play it over one more time.
Thursday night. You're going up
yeah,
the
you don't need
escalator?
to.
I'm going to be dating her in 10 years. Can you believe it?
So take it. Are you going up the escalator? I'm going to be dating her in 15 years. Can you believe it? Would you still support him?
I said 10.
He did. No, he's. This is. He's.
No,
So you'll answer that.
that does not. That statement alone does not disqualify. In my mind, that does not disqualify him.
I think
for-
he wants
for
other
support.
context or something.
For support. No. I'm just saying that statement alone does not disqualify me supporting him.
Okay, so like if that was your 5-year-old daughter, would it disqualify him? Like if it were you walking your daughter up the escalator and he just randomly turned to your daughter and said he'd be dating her in 15 years, would you still vote for him?
And then, like 30 years later, he ran for president. Would you deliberately
Yeah.
not vote for him for that?
No.
You wouldn't vote for him?
No, I'm saying I wouldn't. I'm not saying that would disqualify. I'm saying that would not disqualify him. It would
So
depend
you
on a
would
whole
still
lot.
vote for him? Okay, how about this?
No, I did not say that. I said that wouldn't disqualify him. See, that's the problem with a lot of you young people. I didn't say that, and you turned that into so you did say this, which I didn't.
So,
but I
so
gotta
no,
go.
but you just said that it wouldn't disqualify him.
Hey,
So
you're smart.
let's see
Keep it
how
up.
far you take this. Let's see how far you take this. We're talking about the changing rooms. Donald Trump bragged about walking into the changing rooms of naked women while they're changing without their consent. If this was your daughter in one of those changing rooms when Donald Trump barged in while she's naked without her consent, would you still vote for him, knowing that this happened?
I'm not going to get caught up. I should have left an hour ago. We can.
Yeah, he's leaving. I don't know. That was kind of ridiculous. He wouldn't answer the question for like 45 years. I don't know what that was about.
Yeah, that was a bit brutal. Maybe sometime we'll get him to answer the question in the future. He can come back up and we can finish that.
Anytime I have like conversations with him about politics, he always does this where he like brings the conversation for like 45 years and then it just turns into an argument. Like he'll literally
Yeah.
ask 500 questions. I don't. It's weird.
Well, I'm sorry you got to deal with that. I appreciate you a lot, and especially, getting him to come up on the live stream. That's one of the best things you can do in this circumstance. I appreciate you doing that and you getting involved.
Yeah.
So W's for you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too.